No, but Cousin Jeff, you know I follow your guide and counsel now. You know that, though, don't you?
As I do you.
Absolutely. But I appreciate you allowing me to speak, too, though. But it's two things for me. I mean, one is that it's never either or. It's not a question of electoral politics or social movements. There's a variety of different forms of activism. Sometimes it does and must spill over into the ballot box. Other times we have to be honest. This is what I meant before in terms of just being honest, truthful, and courageous and saying, well, there are going to be times in which the American political system itself looks like a system of legalized bribery and normalized corruption. You have to just say that and be honest and then say, but we still have to find some space within it. We have to find progressives like Congressman Waters' Sister Maxine within it. But she knows the levels of challenge corruption better than we do. And yet she still knows when you're up against a wall, you have to look for all kinds of weaponry to do it. Part of the problem we have here is a paradox. It goes back to Louis Armstrong, the jazz coming out of Storyville, coming out the red light district of St. Louis. It comes out of the blues, Jim Crow, gut bucket, Delta, Mississippi. American mainstream is obsessed with black creative genius, be it music, walk, style, but at the same time puts a low priority on the black social misery, which is the very context out of which that creativity flows. So hip-hop itself is just, I mean, hip-hop emerges out of the American Ice Age. It's Reaganism. It's obsession with material toys. It's being indifferent to the suffering of the most vulnerable among us. And it's precisely among that most vulnerable among us that this genius emerges out of the Bronx with African Bambaataa and Kool Herc and the whole South. You all know the history. But what happens? Mainstream America all of a sudden says, my God, this genius is undeniable. I've got to get in, I want to get in on it. But at the same time, you got political priorities in which the disgraceful school system still in place. Dilapidated housing still in place. Unavailable child care, health care still in place. Not enough jobs of living wage still in place. So we're still wrestling with this paradox. And it seems to me that we need this division of labor. I appreciate what Brother Talib said about where he appreciates you doing your job and he being his job. So he's being Shakespearean. He say, I'm going to be true to myself. I want you to be true to yourself. We're going to overlap at times. Other times, we're going to have tension, not in a non-loving way, but we're going to disagree. Well, see, that to me is maturity. Because the end and aim is still, how do we get the country to make a priority on the suffering of poor people and working people? That's a fundamental challenge, and it's a very dangerous thing. I see Brother Taylor sitting back there from Princeton Theological Seminary who's been leading the struggle for Mumia Abu-Jamal for 15 years. 15 years, another political prisoner people don't like to talk about. Why? Because he was willing to do some things that landed him in that cell. Now, there's not a whole lot of folk who are willing to do that. This is what I meant by how to become more courageous and compassionate. Most folk are scared. That's right. 50 Cent is talented, but he's scared. And the reason why he's scared is he got agents who tell him your career is predicated on doing certain kind of things. Tiger Woods is scared, even though he's the best golfer in the history of the game. He's scared. You know what I mean? Just go right down to... Now, I don't mind scared folk. I grew up with scared Negroes. I try to help them along. You try to push them along and to be the best that they can be. There'll be moments in which they surprise themselves and become courageous.
That was Kanye's moment.
That's exactly, because he was shaking, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I know. Yeah. He came for it, absolutely. Yeah. I'm sorry to go on so long.